Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 55 of the Road to 2K on Chess.com Rapid. Today we're sitting at 1890, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to jump right in. It's been a few days since we played online Rapid, so we're hoping that we can, get back to where we started. So today we're playing in 1900 from the Indonesia. So we're going to start with 1e4 and really kind of see where our opponent wants to take the game. So with e6, we're heading into a French. So let's play d4. Our opponent plays d6. Now in these positions, I like to just kind of bring my knight out. Not do anything crazy anyways. These like non-standard setups, I just kind of bring my pieces all to the center of the board. Maybe we'll play here. Let's play queen to d2. And in this position, I think we'll just castle long. So the bishop comes out. It's targeting this pawn. So already, I'm just looking at moves like rook hd1. Our opponent can't castle because if they do, then they lose this pawn. B5 is already a little bit of a committal move. So we might actually just bring our knight back and try and bring it into the attack. So let's do that now. And then we'll play king to b1 to try and defend our a2 square. The knight comes out. We don't have a push yet. And I do apologize if my voice is sounding a little bit funky today. I'm coming off a little bit of a cold. So I'm trying to do my best to stay consistent with the content. Keep bringing it out for you guys. We're not doing horrible on time. We're slightly down. I do want to move this knight so I can play f4, g4, h4. The bishop comes in, which is hitting, the knight comes in hitting both of these pieces. If I take and he takes, I do open the rook towards our king. But we do have to do something because otherwise we're going to hang this piece. And I think it is actually worth it in this position to take once, just because the knight is stronger than our bishop here. So our opponent takes back. If I play queen to c3, our opponent will likely, I think, lock the position, which does also self-pin us. The tempting move here, I actually don't know if I mind if they push. So let's maybe play e5 to try and lock the position this way. Now, small downside I'm seeing is, unfortunately, this does kind of open their attack towards our king. But as long as we're careful and we don't remove too many of the pieces here from the queen side, we should be okay. Our opponent does end up playing rook to g8. If we take, we just undouble their pawns, so probably not the best course of action. We do maybe have knight to c3 to bring into a better square. So I think we're going to go ahead and do that. Knight to c3. And we'll look at ways to see if we can get our knight to a better square somewhere in the black position. Now, another thing to kind of point out here with rook b8 is our opponent is not going to be able to castle. Our opponent is not going to be able to long castle because they've now moved their rook. So if their plan is to get the king out of the center, they do have to castle short. Now, whether they want to do so or not is also up for debate. But nonetheless. And now our opponent takes their first big think of the game. Just in the effort of not losing my voice, today is probably going to be a little bit of a quieter day while our opponent's doing this. I do hope you guys enjoyed my my recap of the Phoenix Open, though. It was a lot of fun putting that together. I know it's a little bit different for the series, but ultimately, you know, I view online chess as a way for me to continue to expand my game and continue to grow a little bit, so I'm able to, you know, get better at the game of chess. Really, I do see here maybe our opponent's going to play a move like c5. c5 opens up the queen. It attacks the base of our pawns. And just generally looks to be quite a strong move. I'm looking at moves maybe like knight to e4 and knight to f6, putting it on an outpost. Because our knight on c3 doesn't have a ton of utility on c3, besides being a defensive piece. So our opponent opts to bring the knight into the position. Targeting here, targeting here. And does also add a defender to this f6 square. However, it has weakened this. But if we push now, pawn takes, we aren't able to take back. If we go here, knight can come back and take. So I kind of want to force their hand. I'm going to play g4. And if they really want to take off the bishop, I think we're going to say it's essentially signaling to our opponent that they need to do it now. So our opponent obliges. We have ideas where we're stacked up here against the king. And now, maybe it's the time to play d5. Our opponent is striking on the flank, so we're going to strike back in the center of the board. All of our pieces are here. Our opponent finally castles. And now, the decision is kind of ours on what to do. I don't love taking because it just activates their pieces here. I don't love taking this either yet. So maybe instead, what if we play h4, h5? Knight can't come in because this is going to go. If we play g4, they close the position. Yeah, I don't know. This is kind of a tough position for us. Let's start with h4. These are all things. We're definitely getting attacked down here, but our pieces are moving towards their king a little bit quicker. h4, h5. If they play g4, trying to close the position. If we play g5 and they close the position this way. Maybe the point is don't close the position at all and play like knight to d4. But then this pawn is weak and hangs actually. Maybe there's a case for playing knight to e4. Yeah, maybe the move is g5. G5 and looking for this rerouting idea of the knight. And for one of the first times in the series, we're actually ahead on the clock a little bit. I think that this just gives our knight a place to go into the position. If I play rook takes, we run straight, head into rook e6. Oh, sorry, bishop e6. So I'm going to take that off with the knight. Knight captures d5. And if takes, we're going to take here. Moves like e6 don't seem like they work. And if they do, I simply don't see it. I don't see the continuation. Our opponent might be looking at moves like c6 or bishop to b7. Although bishop to b7 we did hang a pawn. Unfortunate. Well, so some of the ideas, he wants to remove that defender. If I go here, bishop takes, queen takes here. I don't think we have the attack that we were hoping for. If we push now, doesn't work. Maybe we'll go rook up. Is he going to take here anyways? Because then it removes the defender here. Potentially. So let's take this off first. And I think I don't know. I think we might be losing here. It's not feeling like a great position for us. I don't think it's over. There's a lot of complications still, but I think we're just losing a lot of material here. There might be tactics with like pawn capture c7. Yeah, my calculation skills are just not feeling super strong right in the present moment. If I go up, this is going to hang. I can't play rook to d4 because the bishop is here. If I go queen here, takes. So that doesn't work. What am I supposed to do here? I don't know if I have a ton of good moves. I could give up the exchange, knight to h2, but then this is going to hang. So maybe we're going to take the time to play rook to h1 and try and maybe go rook to g1. Line up all of our pieces, go for the attack that way. Our opponent sacrifices the rook. Sorry, bishop is defending. Oversight by me. Yeah, and I think now we are more than likely losing. And I'm really at this point just looking for any counterplay. If I go knight here, bishop takes. Do I ever go rook d to g1? I mean, potentially. I just don't know what else I have. Rook a1, king d2. The bishop comes back, attacking this pawn. We do have this check. So I think we got to go for that. We're moving here. This comes up. And then maybe we have some ideas of a counterattack. So like I said, the position is not over. There's still definitely there's stuff to play here. Do we ever do a rook sack of our own? I'm tempted to do it. Rook takes. Rook a1. King d2. If rook captures h, then we have this. If I go here, yeah, you know what? We're going to send it. I am not worried. We have to do something here. Let's start with rook to g1 check. The king comes there. And maybe we're going to play the prophylactic move king to d2. And king to d2 is really just designed to start to keep us out of that position, to avoid forking squares. This looks kind of scary. If I go check, pawn takes here. We have this coming over. Queen blocks. Then we have this check. So we'll play knight to g5. 16 seconds. Okay, so we lose on time. We had some interesting tactics at the end. So let's look at the game. Let's see how we actually did. So our opponent played with an 80.3, and we played with a 65.1. We definitely weren't on our best today, but that's okay. E4, E6, D4, and our opponent just played this kind of annoying, cagey setup. Long castles was a little bit committal. Apparently short castles was a little bit better. But even here, we were slightly better. We just tried to maneuver our pieces to better squares, and we correctly identified that our bishop was worse than their knight. After e5, I guess d5 was the way through, and I didn't like the idea of opening up their fianchetto bishop, but I'm not an engine. Knight to c3, knight f5, g4, and queen takes. And here, the engine says it's even. We played d5, which was wrong. Our opponent castled. h4. We hung the pawn, which was already kind of the tail of the end. We missed a rook check. King c1, rook captures a2. And then we found counterplay. Rook capture g7 was the best move. And I guess we had to find the move queen to d4. At which point our opponent has to play f6. And the reason that you can't play queen to f6 is actually because of rook to g1. And after they play f6, I think you still probably play rook to g1. King back in the corner. And you have to find the punchy move rook to g6, at which point, after king here, I have to imagine queen to f4 just loses the rook. So h5, now rook over, or queen over, attacking the h6 square. But instead, we played rook check, king h7, rook to d2, queen f6, knight g5, which was not great. Gives up material. We did have to find rook takes as the critical move there. And even here, yeah, it's mate in 4. Let's see, after here, they can just take, oh, it's mate in 1. Okay, well, what are you going to do? Like I said, we played with a 1550 rating. Our opponent played at a 2000 rating. Kind of a tough loss coming back in Rapid, but we're feeling a little under the weather. So honestly, I don't think we played that bad. So thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. Check below, make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss any of my future content. And finally, leave some comments down below on what you think I can improve on, and that kind of helps me on my road to 2K. And I will see you guys on the next day.